Puma Pants says good morning. He's here being up. You know what? He's had it with me sometimes. Anyway, the topic this week is bowling balls in bathtubs. It's a nice alliteration, isn't it? It suggests that oftentimes we might be subject to having overreactions to particular life situations. Now, I seem to remember a self-help book from a few years ago that said, "Don't sweat the small." Something along the lines of "Don't sweat the small stuff," and it's all small stuff. And what wise counsel that is, isn't it? What wise counsel it is to not overreact. And yet, some of us, not all of us, if you can relate, just notice inside of yourself, perhaps there are things in life, there are certain circumstances, situations that really do deeply bother us and hurt us and wound us. They are bowling balls in our bathtub, so to speak. When they land, they land with a clang, and they disrupt and displace a lot of our peace and a lot of our consciousness. Most people, if they're honest with themselves, find that to be true, at least in some areas, to some degree. Of course, we're all on the scale of that. So as I think about the title of the book, Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, because it's all small stuff. If we're highly bothered by something, then, and it seems to be a small thing, it might be a small thing circumstantially, but it's not a small thing if we're bothered by small things. This is the clear distinction I want to make. Small things are small things, and it would be nice if we didn't sweat that stuff. And yet, if we are, the problem is not the small thing that happened. I can't find my car keys, my spouse misplaced something, somebody cut me off in traffic. The problem is an incredible overreaction to a small thing. That's not a small thing. That is having reactions to life that are not commensurate or proportional with what's happened. Now, I'm a yoga teacher by trade, which means I deal in energetics. It also means that I've dealt with my own nervous system. And I'm going to pull back the covers on myself a little bit, but just as a, very brief, like the biggest bowling ball in my life, the biggest karmic journey seems to have resulted from, the way that I was born, and a lot of abandonment, and dad left and mom left and raised by wolves and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, it left a big dent or a big twist in my nervous system. And the way that it would show up in my life later in life is, I don't know, I'm 20 years old and I meet a girl and I have a girlfriend, and then she tires of me in a couple of days. You know how it is back in the 20s, and when you're in your 20s, not in the 20s. I'm not that old. But then I would be massively heartbroken for months. And then, that would happen. That's probably happened 5 or 6 times to me. There would be a romantic thing, and then it would disintegrate, and then I would disintegrate. Now, what I noticed in most of my friends is that they would have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and then the boyfriend or girlfriend would leave, and it was very sad. It was very morose. There were many tears. Large boxes of Kleenexes were exhausted. And yet, 3, 4, 5 days later, maybe a month, they were okay, but not me. And what subsequently, what it's made me realize very deeply is the karmic journey for me of abandonment and over-reliance and dependence upon someone else. And that's just a deep life theme and something to work on. In other words, it was never the person. It was never Tracy when I was 20, or Sally when I was 30, or who when I was 40. It wasn't the person. It was the twist inside of my soul. It was the blocked and locked, repressed, hurt, wounded energy that was inside of me. And if small things are bothering us, it may not be a small thing. It could be a deep issue that needs to be worked out therapeutically, philosophically, psychologically, energetically, spiritually, at all these levels. So if we find ourselves and we find that our reactions to life, to small things, are not proportional or commensurate to the problem itself, then we might realize energetically there's a twist or something that needs to be healed inside of myself. I've been working on this one, this large abandonment thing, really my whole life, and it's taken me a lot of being blown up by it. And yet it's done great work on me. It's really exposed the deep subterranean tectonic plates of my soul and deep things that needed to be healed, and to a large degree have. I'm not the same person that I was. I'm not the person I'm going to be, but I am not the person that I used to be. And what used to bother me in that realm doesn't. But it took a lot of pain and a lot of anguish and a lot of torment to get that out of my system. So let's be intelligent about what it is that bothers us, to see whether it is in fact a small thing or is a large thematic bowling ball that needs to be worked out of our soul energetically and spiritually. Food for thought. I'll see you all on the morrow.